Hi, Larissa.
Hi, Cheryl. So nice to see you.
Nice to see you and having you on my podcast. Thank you for being here today.
Yes.
So, please tell our audience about your journey and how you became the healer you are today. And we talked about how you were once a fashion designer. So, that has to do with creativity. And I want to know more about your story.
Yes, so I used to live in Europe before, and I started in Italy, where my family lives right now. So I studied fashion and I worked in the field of shoe designing. So definitely I was very connected with creativity and creating beautiful, high-end luxury pieces of shoes for women. And that was beautiful experience. And then when I moved to US, things changed because it's a little bit less of fashion industry. I mean, there is, but it's on a different level, more clothing. And I got really into yoga, and I learned different technologies like Kundalini Yoga, and met different teachers and masters where I could find this different dimension of myself and really find much more about myself and learn much more. So this was my journey. Even my awakening was prior to coming here, but I just got very much deeper being in LA.
Nice. And what is Kundalini Yoga for our audience? Can you please explain?
So Kundalini Yoga is a very powerful technology which really influences your endocrine system, your nervous system. And if you study that, you can see that the secretion of the glands can influence your mood states and can really shift a lot in your body, in your psyche. So you can change definitely some tendencies, some moods in a very short time. And I find this very powerful because it's like an experience. It's called yoga of awareness. So it's a bit maybe less focused on the physical, where there are physical exercises, but there is a lot of meditation, breath work, and mantra directing the mind towards like a positive projection. So you can co-create, right? Instead of being in your chit chat constant, maybe same like certain wave, and then you can just shift that and see different opportunities, make better choices
Right.
and better solutions.
Instead of
To
being in your head, is what you're saying.
yes, you're still in your head, right? Because sometimes we need to make decisions. We are
Mm.
going through something, and people who are dedicated to spirituality, definitely they want to release something, and then they want to work on themselves, right? So
Yes.
it's constant study about yourself, and Kundalini Yoga, it gives you this opportunity of having this experience of yourself where you can have one perception, and in 1 hour you can completely change your perception. And you
Yeah.
think, oh, things are not that bad, actually I should call this person and I can find solution, because sometimes we just tend to sabotage ourselves, and
Yes.
we like to play the victim mode, and especially if this pattern been playing all over again. So you just used to have this certain type of life and thoughts, and you co-create the same again and again.
Yes. It's like a broken record. It just keeps happening over and over again. And I have gone through that myself. And Kundalini Yoga helped me. I did it with all three of my pregnancies, and it was just such a wonderful practice that I had. And every morning I do breath work, and it just really helps start my day and give a better flow to my day. And I feel like we forget how to breathe during the day. You know, we go into the shallow breaths, like we may get anxiety, and this can really help people get through that.
Yeah, I also feel the way we start the day is so powerful, because if we just start to think about the problems and problem solution right away when we wake up, we can get that anxiety. Instead, if we just take a breath and allow the gratitude to come and know and have that connection with the spirit and know that everything gonna be okay, and just come, how can I show up in the world, be my best self today?
Yes,
And it's a lot about intention. So everything we do is coming from the intention, and the quality of intention will determine actually how your experience is going to be.
yes, absolutely. So tell us more about Egyptian numerology. I find that so fascinating. I've never heard of it. So can you explain about that?
So Egyptian numerology is not that popular. There are no really books on it. There's only one book from someone, a student of my teacher. It is coming from Lemuria, ancient times, ancient Egypt, and it's very accurate. It has astrology aspect to it. The chart I use, and I normally use it on the clients when I do healing work. So from the numbers and the patterns, I can understand what the person need to focus on the most. And after years, you can really understand how it's accurate. So, for example, we're talking about creativity. So if someone has one in their chart, they're definitely very gifted to learn more about music and art. So if you have a child which has one in their chart, it's good to dedicate them to study some art and music. And for example, 8 has tendency to be in the intellect, and it's very competitive, like champions and lawyers, and very like business number. So when you know that every number, of course, has like positive characteristics and some, negative, which you address, which and it brings awareness, so you know how to deal with that. So it's a beautiful to actually has access to knowledge and reflection about yourself, and you can transcend, that's why we come here. We can change everything about ourselves, and also accept and knows our gifts too, knowing our gifts.
And do you do this through the person's birth date and their name? What is the process in finding out their number?
Yeah, so I do it based on the date of birth and the year. So this is basic, but it's profound already. Mm-hmm. And then you can use the name to go deeper. So basically, I use mostly just date of birth and the year.
Nice. And how can Kundalini Yoga and Egyptian numerology, how can those modalities help creatives? The reason why I interview all these different healers or coaches is because that's what I had on my journey as an artist, to help me have breakthroughs and get through blocks or creative blocks. And I want to share this knowledge with other creatives to show, hey, there are these wonderful techniques we can use. So how do you think this can benefit creatives?
Yes, definitely. Creativity is not something that we can, write down on the paper and next morning it's going to be there. It's something beyond the mind, the mental field, and it's definitely creativity cannot be without being in touch with the spirit. So it's with the contact. contact with a spirit. And these modalities, well, Kundalini Yoga, I find can help a lot to release the blocks from lower three chakras, which are our fears, you know, and the second chakra is related to creativity. So by bringing our energy more in the heart space, it helps you, you know, connect and express who you are and tap deeper into yourself and connect with the spirit. So definitely beautiful technology. And creativity requires quiet mind and calm heart.
Yes. I agree.
And that's where meditation come in, because you know Kundalini Yoga is also about meditation. So from that space you can connect, you can connect to yourself and receive the information, because all the information exists already. We just have this gift to tap into it. And when I was a designer, I had those moments where I did design something, and the creation thoughts were coming and coming, and then I couldn't even sleep at night, because if you activate that portal, and then it just keep flowing. And I could see that if I would not use that creation, someone else will use the heel that I created. And I could see that it's not only my idea, the idea circulate, and then we have a gift to tap into there and express, because we are particles, right? We are all part of one, but we are individualized particle of the source. So creation comes to us, and through the creation we can express our unique gifts, our unique genius.
Yes, I agree. I always talk about how like we are like these antennas. They're like on the top of our heads, and like radio frequencies, you know, we pick up, if we're open to it, we pick up all these frequencies, and the more we practice it, the more we can pick up and use it.
Yeah. And also we are already so powerful. It's just we need to see who we are and release who we are not, because of the conditioning, because of, you know, the stories we're telling ourselves, because experiences we've been living, maybe we don't believe in ourselves enough, and we just release those stories. And definitely spiritual practice helps you to see that you believe you are this, and then after a year you're someone else, and you're like, okay, what is next? What's going to be next year? Because like I didn't know, you know, I can shift. Like I used to have anxiety, and that's how was my spiritual awakening, and I was going through massive anxiety, and I manifested this car crash, and we almost died. And then I had to question myself that something needed to change. And that's how I started to question myself, why am I here? What is about my life that has to change? And why, you know, nothing happened to me in this accident where I even lost the car, lost the wheels of the car.
Wow.
And this was a beautiful, right now thinking about it and remembering it, this was a beautiful moment to really awaken and make changes, because things from outside showing you the changes maybe you need to do in your life right now.
Yes, and it's so wonderful that you were aware of that, because many people might go through something like that and just go back to, you know, the way they were living their lives. So it's beautiful that you had that awakening and you made those changes. And I always tell people you don't have to get into something so difficult or challenging or tragic in your life to have that awakening. There are so many ways to get to that place as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had those moments where I was working when I was designing, right? And there was someone who was giving me the CDs about meditation, with meditation, and I tried to listen, but I never really committed. So I feel there's a lot of programming in the society, right? They definitely don't want you to be individualized, this massive, creative, powerful being where they want you to be a part of the system and that you keep consuming, right? And then you just keep consuming and you keep competing. And in that space, there is no creativity.
Yeah.
Because there is no space for that. And also in numerology, for example, if someone has an 8 or 9 in their chart, there's a number of denial in a way. So they are so much in the intellect, in their own identity. And especially if there was a lot of trauma, they would see things from a different story and it would be like a resistance. And I had an 8, for example. So for me, it took me such a long time to really access some parts of my heart and break through. And I knew I could see that I have that resistance, and still it took me a very long time to really access and do that work.
Yeah. Do you have any words of wisdom for the creative spirits out there?
Yes, so I feel like there is something in common between all the creative people and let's say even famous scientists like Isaac Newton, Caravaggio, Einstein. Well, they were not the best at school, most of them, because they were using their mind very differently. They were tapping more into their intuition and finding new solutions, where usually in that times and still in the education today, there is to study and keep repeating things.
Memorizing.
Memorizing instead of creating a new solution and finding in the child what is his genius and what this can be brought at light, where this can be brought at light. And all of these people, they had one thing also in common, that they didn't expect their creation would be beyond their own imagination. So it's like a spirit was coming through them, and they didn't understand even themselves the vastness of the creation they were creating.
Yes, that's so true.
And it's so much to learn from them.
I agree. I agree. So you mentioned you're doing a retreat in July, which sounds amazing. Can you tell our audience a bit more about that?
Yes, I'm very excited for this retreat because the place is very, very beautiful. It is in nature. And I wanted to give this space for people who need to reconnect with themselves and heal in nature. There are going to be some modalities like inner child integration and using the group energy and Kundalini Yoga. To have this space where you can recharge, have, more connection to yourself and ask yourself certain questions and release some of the stuff that, energy that is no longer needed. And I feel we need to get out in nature more, more and more. And sometimes it's easier when you do it in that setting, coming, on the journey with that intention of healing and expansion. And this is my first retreat that I'm leading myself, and I'm very excited because usually I've been teaching in other people's retreats. So it's going to be my energy, just me teaching and creating this space. And I'm very curious because I leave this space for creation and co-creation, and the right people will align, and people who have to connect with my energy.
That's
So
amazing. Congratulations.
yeah, so it is my way of understanding how I can contribute to the world, and something that I'm also passionate about. So being in nature and sharing what I know in that setting is something that it's for me, it's fun. And I feel it's a way to maybe help someone in a way too.
And can you please tell us your how people can contact you and find you?
Yes, so my name is Larisa_Parashakti, and I have account on, it's the same name everywhere. So it's on Instagram, it is on TikTok, and I have also website. But I feel maybe easiest way is social media, and there is all the information there. I'm also teaching regularly in Kundalini LA, a yoga studio on Tuesdays today, 7 p.m. So there is all this information about me in Linktree on my Instagram and my TikTok.
And I will be putting them in the show notes, and all the information will be there. Thank you, Larisa, for being here with me today. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope our audience gets a lot of golden nuggets and wisdom from this podcast. I know they will. This was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharon.